Very good morning to all of you. So, welcome you for this live session for the next part of structural organizations in animals. So, आज जो हम करेंगे वो है structural organizations in animals. যেটা আজকে করব সেটা হচ্ছে structural organizations in animals. এই টপিকটা আগের দিন আমরা আলোচনা করেছিলাম about epithelial tissues. So, epithelial tissues I think একটু বাকি ছিল most probably. আমরা আগে ছোট্ট করে wrap up করে আমরা we are going to start with the connective tissue and today we are going to solve some of the questions. Fine, কয়টা কোশ্চেন সলভ করব পড়তে পড়তে কয়টা কোশ্চেন সলভ করব যেটা না লাস্ট 2024 এর কোশ্চেন এসেছিল। ফাইন, তো সেটা তোদেরকে একটা বুস্ট দেবে যে ইয়েস ইউ আর দেয়ার। ওকে, সো এপিথেলিয়াল টিস্যুর সম্বন্ধে বেসিক আইডিয়া আমি ছোট্ট করে দিয়ে তারপর আমি এখানে ঢুকছি। ওকে, সো লেট মি গিভ ইউ আ বেসিক আইডিয়া। দ্য বেসিক আইডিয়া অ্যাবাউট epithelial tissue. Now, remember last day we talked about the person who gave the term epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue termটা যে ভদ্রলোক দিয়েছিল তার নাম হচ্ছে রুশ, R-U-Y-S-H. Fine. Now, epithelial মানে কি? Epi plus thelial. Epi means what? Epi means upon, and thelial means to grow. Thelial means to grow. তাহলে epithelial tissue মানে হচ্ছে those cells which grows, and epithelial are always upon, means upon what? Upon basement membrane. So epithelial tissue কোথা থাকে? They always they have their basement membrane. They originate from their basement membrane. Now এই basement membrane টা epithelial tissue সবার থেকে বড় property. It's a very important property of all epithelial tissues. So যদি এটা একটা সিঙ্গেল লেয়ার epithelial tissues হয় তাহলে আমরা epithelial tissue কে ক্লাসিফাই করেছিলাম into two. একটা হচ্ছে সিম্পল আর একটা হচ্ছে কম্পাউন্ড। একটা সিম্পল আর একটা কম্পাউন্ড। কম্পাউন্ডকে আরেকটা কথায় বলা হয়েছিল stratified. So they are also called as stratified. তাই তো? Now when we talk about simple, that means they are present in one single layer. They are present in one single layer. And when we talk about compound itself means, or stratified itself means they are having many layers. They are having many layers. Now, compounded, as because they have many layers, আমরা এভাবে বলতে পারি যে একদম টপ লেয়ারটা, the uppermost layer, due to the harsh environment, it becomes what? It becomes dead. So the topmost layer we call it as stratum corneum. The term corneum means dead. Cornified cells কে বলা হয় dead cells. Okay, so এরা কি করে? এরা প্রথমে লিভিং থাকে, due to the harsh environment they dies off, and when they dies off, এই তলার লেয়ারটা, the inner layer of this, the inner layer যেখান থেকে নতুন সেলস জার্মিনেট করে, and that layer is called stratum germinativum. So this is one of the layer which germinates new cells, আর ওটা উপরের দিকে হিল করে, উপরে গিয়ে নতুন যে ডেড সেলস গুলো পড়ে যায় তাকে গিয়ে রিপ্লেনিশ করে। সো stratum corneum and stratum germinatum এই দুটো লেয়ার কম্পাউন্ড এপিথেলিয়াম আমাদের মাথায় রাখতে হবে। কম্পাউন্ড এপিথেলিয়াম তাহলে কোথায় থাকবে? Where can we expect compound epithelium to be present? In those areas where there is maximum wear and tear. যত বেশি কাটা ছেঁড়ার চান্সেস আসবে সেখানে আমরা আশা করতে পারি স্ট্র্যাটিফাইড এপিথেলিয়াম প্রেজেন্ট রয়েছে। ক্লিয়ার? সিম্পল লেয়ারের অত বেশি wear and tear হবে না, বাট ওদের ফাংশন কি হবে? epithelial tissues functions always is, the primary function is protection, the secondary functions can be two, one is absorption and the one is secretion. Okay, now এই ছিল epithelial tissue. দুটো সেলের মাঝখানে কোনোদিন গ্যাপ থাকবে না, there won't be any intercellular space between two cells. দুটো সেলের মাঝখানে there should not be any type of intercellular space. আর এটাই আমরা যখন আমরা যখন কানেক্টিভ টিস্যু পড়বো বা আমরা epithelial টিস্যুর মধ্যেও আমরা পাবো একটা গ্যাপ জাংশন, একটা টাইট জাংশন, আরটা কি সিমেন্টিং ম্যাটেরিয়াল হিসেবে যারা কাজ করে। সেখান থেকে ভালো প্রশ্ন আসে নিটে, টাইট জাংশন, গ্যাপ জাংশন থেকে প্রশ্ন আসে। টাইট জাংশন মানে লিক করতে দেবে না কোনো কিছু, গ্যাপ জাংশন মানে যেখান থেকে কিছু লিক হতে পারে। ঠিক আছে, আরটা আছে সিমেন্টিং, কমপ্লিটলি সিমেন্টেড। সো উই আর গোইং টু টক অ্যাবাউট অ্যাডহেরিং জাংশনস। ওকে, নাও বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেনটা কার পার্ট? বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেনটা ঠিক epithelial টিস্যুর তলার দিকে আছে ব্লাড ভেসেলস, আছে ফাইবারস। দিস আর দ্য পার্টস অফ কানেক্টিভ টিস্যু। তাহলে বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেনটা কার পার্ট? ইটস আ পার্ট অফ কানেক্টিভ, ইটস আ পার্ট অফ epithelial, both. তাহলে বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেনটাকে যদি দেখা যায়, তাহলে বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেনটা দুটো লেয়ার দিয়ে তৈরি বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেন। প্রথম লেয়ারের নাম হচ্ছে ফার্স্ট ইজ বেসাল ল্যামিনা। প্রথম লেয়ারের নাম হচ্ছে বেসাল ল্যামিনা and the second layer is fibrous lamina. তাহলে আমি একটু আগে বলেছিলাম এর তলায় ফাইবারস থাকবে, তো ফাইবার থেকে ফাইব্রাস ল্যামিনা সিক্রিট হবে, আর বেসমেন্ট থেকে এপিথেলিয়াল টিস্যু থেকে বেসাল ল্যামিনা সিক্রিট হবে। এই দুটো লেয়ার নিয়ে বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেন তৈরি হয়। প্রশ্নটা করে অনেক সময়, ইজ বেসমেন্ট মেমব্রেন a cellular or acellular component? It's an acellular component. Fine, it's not having any cells, it's an acellular component. So that is basement membrane, very very important for epithelial tissues. Okay, so এই ছিল একটা আইডিয়া দিয়েছিলাম। আবার কি পড়েছিলাম, we have also talked about, আমরা ওইদিকে চলে যাচ্ছি very fast, and that is epithelial tissues can be classified on the basis of their shape into 4 different types. 4 রকমের। কি কি? First squamous, second হচ্ছে columnar, ciliated columnar, and last is cuboidal. যদি এর মধ্যে আমরা কয়টা পার্ট পড়েছিলাম, ট্রানজিশনাল পড়েছিলাম, কেরাটিনাইজড এন্ড নন কেরাটিনাইজড পড়েছিলাম, যদিও আমরা আজকে একটুখানি রিভিজিট করবো এই জায়গাটায়, করে আমরা কানেক্টিভে চলে আসবো। সো লেট আস স্টার্ট উইথ টুডেজ ক্লাস। এই ছিল বেসিক আইডিয়া। নাও ডিফারেন্স বিটুইন সিলিয়া, ওকে, এইটা কভারিং অ্যান্ড লাইনিং এপিথেলিয়াম। নর্মালি আমরা এই কভারিং অ্যান্ড লাইনিং এপিথেলিয়াম, এটা বোঝা যাচ্ছে যে যাকে কভার করে, যে অর্গান, যে কোনো অর্গানকে কভার করে। এরা 3 রকমের হতে পারে, সিম্পল এপিথেলিয়াম, কম্পাউন্ড অর স্ট্র্যাটিফাইড, আর হচ্ছে সিউডো স্ট্র্যাটিফাইড। তো আমাদের আগের ইনফরমেশনে নিশ্চয়ই মনে আছে আমরা কখন বলেছি ওকে সিউডো স্ট্র্যাটিফাইড, when yes Divyanshu Verma. Yes, tell me. You want me to carry on with English or Hindi? Tell me in which standard you are in right now. What you are doing, Divyanshu? Yes, I can always go with English or Hindi or Bengali, no issues. Fine. So when you are asking me, I want some answers from you. Tell me in which particular standard you are in right now and what you are doing. Yeah. So, compound epithelium, simple epithelium, compound or stratified epithelium, and the last one is pseudostratified. So, what is pseudostratified? Pseudostratified means if this is a basement membrane, there can be some of the cells. Say this is a columnar type of cell, and you can see the nucleus, the position of the nucleus are different. In this first cell, the nucleus present over here at the base, and then you can see this somewhere in the middle, and the third cell is having the nucleus at the top. So again, say this is in the middle, the next one is at the bottom, and the next one is. So how it looks like? It looks like that it is having many strata. It is having many layers. So it seems to be having many layers, but actually it is not, and that is why it is called as pseudostratified epithelium. Fine. Now, so simple epithelium, according to cell type, it is divided into number 1, squamous epithelium. Number 2, cuboidal. So squamous means what? What is the shape of this squamous epithelium? So last day we talked about that if this is a basement membrane and if this is a cell, or agar is cell ko aap hathoda maar doge, the moment you put hathoda on this, what is going to happen? Mind you, what is going to happen is it is going to become broad and flat cells. It's going to become broad and flat cells. So basically, the squamous epithelium, they are broad and flat cells, and they look like they get arranged in the form of, they arrange in the form of what? Pavement epithelium. They arrange in the form of tiles. Clear? So that is it. So this is very very important. Clear, Baba? So this is squamous epithelium. So they are present on where? Lining of peritoneal and pleural cavities. Lining of peritoneal and pleural cavities. What is pleural cavities? Come on. What is the meaning of pleura? It is the outermost covering of the lungs. And if you want to get into a little bit of depth of it, pleura are of 2 types. They have 2 coverings. One is inside and there is the other one outside. So otherwise, outside it is peritoneal and parietal pleura and visceral pleura. Okay. So pleural cavity is endothelial lining. What is endothelial lining? the inner lining of the blood vessel. If this is the blood vessel, inside the inner lining of the blood vessel, they have got what? They have what? Squamous epithelium, and that makes the blood vessels very much smooth. That makes the blood vessels smooth. Fine. So there are 4 reasons why the blood never clots inside the blood vessels. Let me repeat that. If I ask you why blood never clots inside the blood vessels, what is the answer for that? First thing, so due to the presence of squamous epithelium, the RBCs, they never get chance to get stuck inside the blood vessels. The blood vessel ভিতরে ওরা stuck করতে পারে না. Number 1. Number two is due to the presence of heparin, anticoagulant heparin. Fine. There are some large anions which stops the functioning of the blood coagulation factors. We're going to talk about that. Fine. This is the 3rd point. And 4th point is as because there is a continuous flow of blood inside the blood vessels. তাহলে 4টে পয়েন্ট কি বললাম পুষ্পিতা? 4টে পয়েন্ট কি বললাম? ফার্স্ট, ব্লাড ভেসেলস এর ভেতরে ব্লাড কেন ক্লট করে না, মানে আরবিসি ওরা কেন স্টাক করতে পারে না, কেন ব্লাড ক্লট করে না? ফার্স্ট থিং ইজ ডিউ টু দ্য প্রেজেন্স অফ দ্য squamous epithelium, that is the endothelial lining of the normal blood vessels, and they are very smooth, because we know that inside our mouth also, inside the inner lining of the mouth, we have also got what? Squamous epithelium. আমাদের কি আছে? Squamous epithelium আছে, তো ওটাও স্মুথ হয়. So it's just like the same inside the blood vessels, they have got a smooth lining. গেল number 1. Number 2 কি বললাম? Number 2, there is a continuous blood flow. At any point of time you are not going to see that blood vessels is there and there is no blood. So there is a continuous flow of blood. So if the continuous flow of blood থাকে, তাহলে there is no chance for them to get clot. Number 2. Number 3, due to the presence of anticoagulant called heparin. Heparin is a mucopolysaccharide. It's a mucopolysaccharide, and it remains on the walls of the blood vessels. It remains on the walls of the blood vessels. Fine. And the 4th one is due to the presence of large anions in the form of Cl- and ACO3-, chloride and bicarbonates. What happens? They inhibit the formation of all those 13 coagulating factors. There are 13 coagulating factors. আমরা পড়বো আজকে. We are going to study the same 13 coagulating factors কি আমরা পড়বো. Fine. Under blood যদি আমরা অদূরে এগোতে পারি. ঠিক আছে, চল. Cuboidal epithelium. So when we talk about cuboidal epithelium, it is present where? In the respiratory bronchioles, sweat gland, and thyroid follicles. Okay, so that is it. So respiratory bronchioles, sweat gland, and thyroid follicle. So cuboidal epithelium present in respiratory bronchioles, sweat gland, and thyroid follicles. Mind you, last day we talked about cuboidal epithelium, yes or no? Yes. We have talked about the thyroid follicles, we have talked about MIT, DIT, T3, T4, we have talked about that. So no, you should just check it out if you have missed it. Columnar epithelium, they are what? Columnar epithelium are column-like cells, they are pillar-like cells. Fine. So they are pillar-like cells. They are like this. They are pillar-like cells. And this is the basement membrane. So they are present where? In the glandular duct and the gallbladder. Under columnar, we can always classify them into one of the form called ciliated epithelium. What is that? Ciliated epithelium. Under ciliated epithelium, what we can see is if this is the long columnar cells, they have got cilia. Now this columnar epithelium, they are present where? In the bronchioles and fallopian tube. Ciliated epithelium present in bronchioles and fallopian tube. What is the function inside bronchioles? Bronchioles are never going to allow the dust particles. Air এর সাথে যে dust particles থাকে, সে dust particles কে ধাক্কা দিয়ে বের করে দেয়. So remember we talked about that. Those people who smokes, they have got in them what happens with the cilia? The cilia dies off. Fine. So, and that particular problem that this face is this particular escalator action of cilia is going to be missing in them. And that problem is called Carter-Jenner's syndrome. That problem that they suffer from is called Carter-Jenner's syndrome. Okay. The next one is columnar with stereocilia. What is stereocilia? Last day we talked about stereocilia and kinocilia. Remember, last day we talked about there are two types of cilia mainly, stereo and kinocilia. Stereo and kinocilia. So columnar with stereocilia. The example is epididymis. Epididymis is there inside the seminiferous tubules. Present inside the seminiferous tubules. Now, what is the function of this epididymis? They help in. What is the length of this epididymis? There are three different parts of the epididymis. One is caput, corpus, and cauda. Again, I repeat: caput, corpus, and cauda. These three are the parts of the epididymis. And what is the length of epididymis? Is 6 meters. That means, what is the role of this epididymis? A particular spermatozoa needs to spend some portion of their time, a critical period of time inside epididymis. Epididymis say, okay, একটুখানি wait করতে হবে, একটু rest নিতে হবে in order to get motility. In order to get motility. That is most important. So epididymis কি থাকে epididymis? They are columnar with stereocilia. Columnar with stereocilia. Come down to sensory. When we talk about sensory, প্রথমেই না আসে কার কথা? Sensory মানে there is sensory cells are there in the retina. Sensory cells are there in the tongue, in the nasal cavity, and in the tongue. So these three are the sense organs, and to some extent they are present inside the brain. The sensory epithelium are present in retina. Retina, the sensory epithelium means they are pigmented epithelium, and they are presented is the two types of pigment present inside eye. Kikire, rod cells, rhodopsin, cone cells, iodopsin. So iodopsin changes into rhodopsin, rhodopsin changes into iodopsin, daylight, night light. Fine. So this is a change. We're going to talk about that. There is a nick which occurs in the rhodopsin and iodopsin, and that forms into a different thing. So light পড়লে ওরা একটা nick তৈরি করে, একটা straight chainটাকে ফট করে nick করে যায়, and there is a change in iodopsin to rhodopsin. Whatever. So these are pigmented epithelium. So they have got what? Sensory. They have got sensory epithelium. And nasal epithelium, it goes without saying, olfactory receptions. So সেখানে কি থাকবে? Sensory epithelium থাকবে, and tongue. And sometimes during summer, you have seen during summer, sometimes you bleed from your nose. হ্যাঁ, নাক থেকে রক্ত বেরোয়। খেয়াল করিস নাকে লাল হয়ে যায়, and the upper epithelium goes off. Upper epithelium goes off. Clear? হয় এটা কখনো হয়েছে কখনো? দেখেছিস বা কারো হতে? So that is a normal one. So a nasal epithelium, তাহলে সেই সময় তার nasal olfactory olfactionটা ভালো হবে না কমবে? Why? Because the upper epithelium is not there. Sensory epithelium is not there. Clear? Again, it's going to get formed. Tongue. Why do you clean tongue with the tongue cleaner? What is the reason for that? The outermost covering of the tongue, they have got what? Sensory epithelium. And when you are not going to clean it, the sensory epithelium is not going to get subjected towards the food that you are eating. So you are not going to, have the taste. You are not going to feel the taste of the food that you are feeding on. Clear? Chalo, that's it. So this is about the squamous epithelium. Come down over here. Compound epithelium or stratified. Compound epithelium or stratified. So যখন আমরা compound epithelium or stratified সম্বন্ধে পড়বো, we are going to talk about types of it. So what are the types? The first one is stratified squamous epithelium, and they are present where? In the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, vagina, cornea, outermost part of the urethra. Stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium. So you know what? Stratified squamous epithelium, buccal cavity, it's definitely going to be present inside the buccal cavity. Why? Because every day when you are taking the food, there has been some scarification. A food, so if you are feeding on the fish, being Bengali, ফিশের যে কাটা, মাছের যে কাটা, সেই কাটাটাকে স্ক্যারিফিকেশন করবো না। যখন একটা মাটন খাবো, হাড় খাবো, ওটা স্ক্যারিফিকেশন হবে না। যখন তুই ডাটা খাস, কোনো শাক খাস, শাকের ডাটাগুলো ওখানে গিয়ে স্ক্র্যাচ করে নামে। সো ইট অলওয়েজ রিমেন্স ইন এ ওয়াট ফর্ম? Scarification হয়। So there is definitely going to be stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium, কারণ কি ওই লেয়ারটা কেটে পড়ে যাবে, নতুন লেয়ার তৈরি হবে ওখানটায়। Stratified cuboidal epithelium, inner surface of sweat and mammary gland. আচ্ছা, একটা কথা মাথায় দিয়ে দে, যখনই cuboidal আসবে, I'm giving you this trick. Whenever the cuboidal term comes in your mind, what should come in your mind immediately is about ducts. Think about gallbladder cystic duct in cuboidal epithelium. So whenever we talk about cuboidal epithelium, and we know that cuboidal epithelium কোথায় আছে? In the thyroid follicle. যখন কোনো ডাক্তের কথা আসবে, you should keep in your mind that we are talking about cuboidal epithelium. Inner surface of the sweat gland and mammary gland. What kind of gland is mammary gland? It's an apocrine culture. No, we haven't talked about gland. No? We have to talk about gland today. Okay. So mammary gland is a modified sweat gland. Mammary gland is a modified Sweat gland. Okay, we will talk about that. Stratified columnar epithelium. Come on, stratified columnar epithelium. So columnar epithelium is there are many of the layers of the columnar epithelium. Some parts of pharynx and epiglottis. They are present in some parts of the pharynx and epiglottis. I think you know what is epiglottis is all about. Okay, Arnab. Arnab. Yes, good morning, Arnab. Yes. Arnab, tell me you are in which class, which standard? Arnab, tell me you are in which standard? Okay. And then I'm going to respond to you. No issues. Some parts of pharynx and epiglottis. Some parts of pharynx and epiglottis. So they're present in some parts of pharynx and epiglottis. Next is what? Transitional epithelium. So when we talk about transitional epithelium, that means we are talking about what? There are many layers. Transitional means what? They are layer after layer, because we are talking about stratified epithelium. অনেকগুলো লেয়ার আছে, তাহলে একটা লেয়ার অন্য লেয়ারের উপরে কি করতে পারে? একটা লেয়ার অন্য লেয়ারের উপরে গ্লাইড করতে পারে. So they can glide upon each other. So that is transitional epithelium. And what we have to remember about transitional epithelium, that the only epithelial tissue which is not having basement membrane is transitional epithelium. It's a star mark point. Arnab and Divyanshu, if you have got really you want to be in the class, ask me questions which are relevant. Okay? Yes. Yeah, I think you are playing with your life. Do play with your life, no issues about that. But don't disrupt. Don't disrupt, okay? Chalo. Now, the point is, transitional epithelium, inner surface of renal pelvis, inner surface of renal pelvis. It's present where? In the inner surface of renal pelvis. That means what happens when there is a formation of urine inside the urinary bladder and in the renal pelvis? What happens is there is a stretch which occurs. So that stretch is only going to occur if there are many layers. অনেকগুলো লেয়ার থাকলে কি হবে? একটা লেয়ার অন্য লেয়ার উপর স্ট্রেচ করবে, ট্রানজিট তখনই করবে যখন ও বেস মেমব্রেন উপরে থাকবে না। So basement membrane নেই in case of transitional epithelium. Okay, they are present in urinary bladder and ureters. Okay, now cuboidal epithelium, the types that we have studied over here, in cuboidal epithelium there are three different types. Remember, brush bordered epithelium present inside PCT. Remember we talked about proximal convoluted tubule, and they have got brush bordered epithelium. And what is the function of this brush bordered epithelium? So if this is the woman's capsule, and this is PCT, and this is what? Brush bordered cuboidal epithelium. And the function of this brush bordered is they have got many mitochondria inside them. So because they have got a huge amount of mitochondria, they can absorb close to 70 to 80% of NaCl forcefully by pressure, by their muscle power. Why they have got great muscle power? Because they have got mitochondria, more amount of mitochondria. তো যেহেতু বেশি mitochondria আছে বলে ওদেরকে ব্রাশ বর্ডার বলা হয়। আর ব্রাশ বর্ডারের মধ্যে আমি ফিঙ্গার লাইক প্রজেকশন দেখিয়েছি। এটাতে কি বাড়বে? সারফেস এরিয়া বাড়বে অ্যাবজর্পশন করার জন্য। এরকম সারফেস এরিয়া, what is the portion of your intestine where we have seen this? Small intestine. More the surface area, microvilli, and they are going to absorb more. Germinal epithelium, cuboidal epithelium কোথায় থাকে? Germinal epithelium আমরা টেস্টিসে সেমিফাস টিউবস কেটে দেখিয়েছিলাম, আগের দিন ক্রস সেকশন দেখিয়েছিলাম, মনে আছে? হ্যাঁ, we have shown you some of the Sertoli cells are present over here. The spermatozoa head, they remain embedded inside the Sertoli cells. So these are cuboidal epithelium present, okay? And ovary is also lined by cuboidal epithelium. আগের দিন আমরা আলোচনা করেছিলাম, এটা ভেঙে দিয়েছে। Ciliated cuboidal epithelium কোথায় থাকে? In some parts of the nephrons of the kidney, some parts of the nephrons. Tell me which part of the nephron you can have ciliated cuboidal epithelium. Nephron মানে it starts with the Bowman's capsule, হবে না, ciliated এর কোনো কাজ নেই। Then PCT, cuboidal epithelium, descending helps in absorption. Cuboidal, next cuboidal and squamous, both division as well as absorption. And second, tubophilically, no issues. Ascending limb, yes, some parts of columnar epithelium present. And when we talk about keratin duct, they do have this kind of ciliated cuboidal epithelium, some parts of the nephrons. Okay. So that is about this. Let's come down to pseudostratified epithelium. So they are ciliated pseudostratified epithelium present inside trachea, which helps in the escalator action of cilia. Escalator action of cilia. Then bronchi, bronchioles, pseudostratified with stereocilia. What is it? Pseudostratified with stereocilia, epidermis and some portion of urethra. And remember, last day we talked about stratified squamous epithelium are two types, keratinized and non-keratinized. So I'm going to give this PDF to you. Make your own notes. I'm going to send this PDF to you. Fine, no issues. Keratinized, epidermis of skin, hard palate, and gingiva. Keratinized. What is hard palate? You can see at the upper part of there's two parts, hard palate and soft palate. So hard palate, due to different types of food, it goes off, it tears off, and then again it gets formed. But it is keratinized or non-keratinized? It is keratinized. Non-keratinized is what? Non-keratinized is buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and also vagina, cervix also. Fine, last day we talked about. And what is keratin? What is keratin? It's a protein. What kind of protein is that? What kind of protein is keratin?
Secondary.
It's a secondary. Under secondary, there are three types: alpha, beta, and collagen. Which one is this? This is alpha helix. This is alpha helix. So there are three different types of alpha helix, beta pleated, and collagen helix. And collagen helix. Yeah, Babu? Yes. Now, what is the next one? The next one is about, yes. Okay. So difference between cilia, pseudocilia, and microvilli. Very, very important concept. What you can see in the pseudocilia, which one is, just see the diagram. See the diagram. Cilia, pseudocilia, and villi. Which one looks, which one helps in? Do you think it helps in movement or something? Pseudocilia? And this cilia is also helps in movement, but it's not that effective like pseudocilia. And you can see the microvilli are like. See, what is the difference? The difference between cilia, pseudocilia, and microvilli. What is the first part? It arises from the basal granules. The cilia, which also called as kinocilia, they are present where? They originate from the basal granules. So this is the basal granule of the cell where from the cilia develops. They are motile. They have a 9+2 arrangement. I think you remember that 9+2 arrangement, C1, C2, and they are doublets like this, A, B, A, B. Remember that? So there are 9 doublets, 9+2 arrangement. We are going to study the same in cells, the unit of life. Cilia and flagella 9+2 arrangement. Yes, and they taper distally. They taper distally. Occur in cells of respiratory and reproductive tracts. Occurs in cells of respiratory and reproductive tracts. Okay, bronchioles and fallopian tube. So they are present where? They are stereocilia. They are kinocilia. They are kinocilia. Kinocilia. Remember, in ear, there were hair cells. If this is a hair cell, these three are stereocilia and this one is kinocilia. So they look like your fingers. Fine, folded finger, and this is like that. So these three are stereocilia and one is kinocilia. Now this kinocilia, if it moves in this direction or that direction, we call it hyperpolarization. The nerves present with the cell, hair cell and nerve is going to get activated. It's going to get activated. Come down to stereocilia. Basal granules are absent. In stereocilia, the basal granules are absent. So they are now developed from the basal granules. They are non-motile, absent ultrastructure. They are cylindrical, found in some parts of male reproductive system. Epidermis and vas deferens. Come down to microvilli. Basal granules are absent again. See, no basal granules are present. They are non-motile, absent ultrastructure. They are extremely thin and short structured. Found where absorption and secretions are the major activities. So what is the main function? Only to increase the surface area. Now you tell me, in case of epidermis, what is the function of stereocilia? The sperm gets stuck over here and remains over here for some time. ফাইন, ওরা এই হেয়ারটাকে ধরে বসে আছে স্পামটা, কেন? ও একটা ক্রিটিক্যাল পিরিয়ড অফ টাইম ও ওখানে স্পেন্ড করবে ইন অর্ডার টু গেট মোটিলিটি, ইটস আ ভেরি ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট ফাংশন অফ এপিডিডাইমাস। হয়েছে এটা? So this is about the different types of cilia. So we have talked about kinocilia, stereocilia, and microvilli. Keratinized and non-keratinized. They are keratinized and non-keratinized. Keratinized, they form epidermis of skin, land vertebrates, hard palate, gingiva. Keratin is highly insoluble because it is a fibrous protein. It's a alpha helix. Come on, it's a alpha helix. Keratin এর মনে আছে 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 4 are counted by disulfide linkage. কি রে মনে পড়ছে? The first amino acid and the fourth amino acid are linked by disulfide linkage. যদি এটা বলতে পারিস, disulfide linkage যদি এটা মনে থাকে 1 and 4 position of the amino acid, they are linked up with disulfide linkage. You tell me, name the amino acid having sulfur. Sulfur in their alkyl group. Cysteine. So definitely this part should be cysteine, where the R group is going to come outside and they are going to make a bond. R গ্রুপটা এদিকে রয়েছে আর ওদিকে এদিকে রয়েছে, আর ওরা বাইন্ড করে বসে আছে। The same thing is you have seen in case of antibody. Heavy chains, both the heavy chains, কি রে long chain, disulfide linkage আছে না মাঝখানে, so they have got cysteine. Okay, now so their waterproofing qualities are present in dead superficial cells. It is impermeable to water. Definitely keratinized কি হবে? Impermeable হবে, because that is dead basically. Keratinized means it's a complex protein. It is impermeable to water. It forms well protective covering against abrasions. Abrasions মানে কাটা ছেঁড়া থেকে well protected. কাটা ছেঁড়া থেকে wear and tear থেকে they are well protected. Clear? So when we talk about non-keratinized, it lines buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, etc. Superficial cells are living and keratin is absent. Come on, keratin is absent over here. শক্ত থাকতো তো বুঝতেই পারতি যে চুলের মতন ব্যাপারটা হতো অনেকটা, বা নেলের মতন হতো। The nail is made of what? Keratin. A horn is made of what? Keratin. Hoof, keratin. It is permeable to water. It forms moderately protective covering against abrasion. Okay, come down to this. Today we are supposed to start from here. Fine. Before we get into this, let me give my concept of it. Yes, we are going to get into this glands. So what is a gland? Gland, why we are studying gland under epithelial tissue? Because what is gland? If this is epithelial tissue and suddenly the epithelial tissue was running like this, fine, suddenly they started invaginating inside the body, and after invagination they have come out again, and this is going to make a gland. So what is gland? It's nothing but a modified epithelial tissue. What is gland? It's nothing but a modified epithelial tissue. And this gland should contain some of the chemical substances, fine, for the body. Now, when we talk about glands, we can classify glands into different category on the basis of something. First, let me give you the idea about glands ke amra classify korte pari kar basis e, Pushpita, kar basis e, on the basis of their presence of duct. Duct আছে না নেই? If they are not having duct, we are going to call them as endocrine. If they do have ducts, we will call them exocrine. If they have got duct and they can straight away secrete the secretions automatically to the blood, তাহলে ওকে বলবো mixed gland or heterocrine gland. So there are three types of gland. কি কি বললাম? একটা হচ্ছে on the presence of duct, exocrine, endocrine, and one is mixed gland. So it's not present over here. One is mixed gland. So exocrine মানে with duct, example বল, salivary gland, liver, hepatic duct, cystic duct, fine. And endocrine gland without ducts means they are pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland. So there are different types of glands which are endocrine in nature. What is mixed gland? Heterocrine gland is example is pancreas, testis, and ovary. Pancreas, testis, and ovary are heterocrine in nature or mixed gland. Okay, on the basis of number of cells, they can be unicellular or multicellular, one celled, many celled. Depending on the shape of the secretory units, they can be tubular, gland দেখতে কেমন তার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে, tubular হতে পারে, they can be alveolar, saccular, alveolar মানে কেমন হবে, tubular কেমন দেখতে হবে, tube, come on, tubular, alveolar মানে কেমন হবে দেখতে, this is alveolar, saccular, tubulo-alveolar. Got the point? Both of them. একটা টিউবুলো থাকবে একটা sac like structure থাকবে, টিবিউলো থাকবে, they will be having tubule as well as sac like structures. Any issues, babu? Clear? Now tubular. So tubular can be simple tubular, simple branch, simple compound. Alveolar can be simple, simple branch and simple compound, and tubulo-alveolar is only one type. Let's come down to the mode of secretion. On the basis of mode of secretion, we can classify them into three types. On the basis of mode of secretion, they can be classified into three types. Kiki আছে? The first one is apocrine. When we talk about apocrine, that means if this is the gland, the apical part of the gland burst off. ওপরের পোর্শনটা ফেটে গেল। Only the apical portion of the gland burst off to secrete its secretion. It's called apocrine. Only apocrine part, মানে apical part, burst off to secrete its secretion. It's called apocrine. Example, mammary gland. Example is mammary gland. So in mammary gland, only the apical part bursts off to secrete the milk. Again, that apical part gets formed. Merocrine gland, when the gland secretes its secretion by the help of simple diffusion, মানে গ্ল্যান্ডটা কি করলো, ফাটলো না, আর আস্তে করে নিয়ে সিক্রেশনটা আশেপাশে ব্লাড ভেসেলস এর মধ্যে পাঠিয়ে দিল। And basically all endocrine glands are merocrine in nature. So we can consider all endocrine glands are merocrine in nature. বুঝলাম? And what about holocrine? Holocrine means when whole of the gland bursts off in pieces. When the whole of the gland bursts off in pieces and secretes its secretion, we call it holocrine gland. Example কি রে? Example হচ্ছে sebaceous gland. Exampleটা কি? Example হচ্ছে sebaceous gland. That is oil gland. Got the point? Acne occurs, you should not touch it. Why? Because গর্ত হয়ে যাবে ওখানে। So it's going to be a permanent scar. It's going to be a permanent scar. Nature of secretion, দু রকমের, একটা serous একটা mixed, একটা serous একটা mixed. Nature of secretion কি হতে পারে? Serous হতে পারে, mixed হতে পারে, we will talk about that. Okay, now glands. So this is about glands. Glands, a group of cells which secrete chemical substances are called glands. All glands are composed of, come on, you cannot have glands of connective tissue. All glands are epithelial in nature. So some columnar or cuboidal cells can get specialized for secretion of, known as glandular epithelium. So some of the columnar নিজেরা specialization হলো, cuboidal specialization হলো. Glands can be originated from the three germinal layers. Glands can be originated from all the three germinal layers. What are the three germinal layers? Ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So these are three germinal layers where from glands can be produced. Classification of glands. Glands on the basis of mode of pouring of the secretion. একটা হচ্ছে endocrine glands, exocrine glands, and see heterocrine gland or mixed gland is present over here. Clear? বলতে হবে, নতুন করে বলতে হবে নিশ্চয়ই? Yes. So what is the example of this? What is the example of this heterocrine gland? Pancreas and gonads. Gonads মানে কি? Testis and ovary. Gonads মানে কি? Testis and ovary. Clear? আচ্ছা, টেস্টিসের মধ্যে কোন হরমোন রিলিজ হয়? The hormone which is released from the testis is testosterone. Testosterone কোনো দাগ দিয়ে বেরোয় না, বা বেরোতেও পারে, বাট ওর সিক্রিশন হয় from the endocrine cells called interstitial cells of Leydig. ওভারিতেও একই কাজ। ফাইন, গ্রাফিন ফলিকলে মেমব্রেনা গ্রানুলোসা, রিমেম্বার দ্যাট, মেমব্রেনা গ্রানুলোসা, সেখান থেকে সিক্রিট হয় কি? 17B estradiol, that is called estrogen. 17B estradiol, the chemical name of estrogen. One question before I get into this. Estrogen, testosterone are produced from, I'm giving you options. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are produced from option A, histamine, option B, mast cells, option C, granulosa cells, option D, cholesterol. It's a derivative of cholesterol. They are the derivative of cholesterol. Cholesterol থেকে স্টেরয়েড তৈরি হয়। cholesterol. Clear? Do go through the biomolecular topic about lipids that I have taught you last day, not yesterday. Last day, biomolecules topic টা ভালো করে দেখিস। Fine. Okay. On the basis of nature of secretion, three types of glands present. One is called merocrine. কি merocrine হয়ে গেল? Merocrine example: sweat gland, goblet cells, salivary gland, tear gland, intestine gland, mucous glands, apocrine gland, mammary gland. Where is it? Mammary gland. Clear? See the matter is comparatively concentrated. Okay. Now see the structure of it. Acha, aata part dekhini. Holocrine. Holocrine means what? The whole of the gland. See, whole of the gland burst. Right? So gland ke morte holo to secrete. The gland has to die to secrete. And see this holocrine gland. They are going to die to secrete it. Example: sebaceous, meibomian, and G's gland. G's gland is there in your eyes. G's gland. Meibomian gland in your eyes. G's gland. Clear? So see the shape of this glands. So these glands, this is simple tubular. I showed you. Only this part is going to secrete. A part this is a duct, but only this part is going to start secreting. In simple coil tubular, this part is going to secrete. Only this part is going to secrete. This part, only this part is going to secrete. Clear? Over here, this part. What is this? Simple alveolar. Alveolar saccule dekhte. Saccular bola hoy. Ki bola hoy? They are also called as saccular. This is compound tubular. See, compound tubular. So there are many tubes. They are compound alveolar. Many sac-like structure. Compound mononuclear. Compound tubular alveolar. So tubule is there, sac is there. Tubule is there, sac is there. তোরা বেঁচে গেছিস, এসব প্রশ্ন করে না, আমাদের প্রত্যেকটার এক্সাম্পল মাথায় রাখতে হবে। फाइन, सो आप बच गए। ओके, बट मुझे लगा कि आप लोगों को दिखा दें कि क्या मिस कर रहे हो आप, यू आर मिसिंग ऑल दिस। फाइन, ओके। Presence or absence of ducts. Presence or absence of ducts. Endocrine, exocrine, you know that. Number of cells, unicellular, multicellular. Examples over there. Tubular glands, simple tubular. Simple tubular means they are coil tubular. Coil tubular. Sweat gland is sweat gland. Have you ever seen this figure of sweat gland? They are like coiled. If this is the skin থেকে এরকম ভাবে বেরিয়ে আসে. This is epithelial tissue, and this is the sweat gland, and sweat gland are coiled. So they are coil tubular. Intestine glands, skips of liver cones, they all are coiled. Intestine glands are coiled. Clear? বহু simple tubular মধ্যে চলে আসলো এটা। Simple tubular মধ্যে চলে আসলো। Okay. On the basis of shape of secretory cells, tubular glands, simple glands, compound tubular, example দিয়ে দিয়েছে, saccular example দিয়ে দিয়েছে, simple and compound, compound tubular acts. See, this is mammary gland, compound tubular alveolar, tubule plus alveolar, compound tubule plus alveolar. বুঝেছিস বাবা? See, parotid gland secretes the maximum amount of saliva. Pancreas, you know, so they are alveolar as well as tubular. They are alveolar and tubular. Actually, they compound tubular. Fine. Tubular glands, crypts of liver cone. Tubular glands, simple tubular. Crypts of liver cone present where? In the intestine glands. Simple coil tubular, sweat gland. Simple branch tubular, gastric glands. When we talk about sacculo-alveolar, that is, simple glands are two types: simple alveolar and simple branch alveolar. Simple branch alveolar are sebaceous glands. Simple tubular are cutaneous, poison gland, mucous glands. And when we talk about compound alveolar, they are sublingual gland and submandibular gland. Present where? Inside the salivary gland. So salivary glands are of three different types. Salivary gland are of three different types. What are they? Parotid, sublingual, and submandibular. Very good. Sure, that's it. Clear? I'm not spending time over there because simple branch, just now we have talked about all this. Yes. Compound tubular alveolar, make our notes, Make our notes on this. Acha, endocrine glands, I'm not going to bolchi na. Endocrine glands, we know about that. Yes, let's get into connective tissue. So I was supposed to start with the connective tissue. I've just given a wrap up of epithelial tissue. Last day we have covered epithelial tissues. Okay. Now, connective means what? Connective means in between two cells there must be a gap between two cells. How we are going to see this? Say this is the blood vessel. This is the blood vessel. Not a blood vessel. Blood vessel মধ্যে একটা RBC আছে. This is RBC. Let me show you in red. This is RBC biconcave shaped, and this is another RBC biconcave shaped. Now think about it. এই দুজনের মাঝখানে there is intercellular space present. There is intercellular space present. Intercellular space present. We call this intercellular space as matrix. আমরা কি বলি এটাকে? We call this as matrix. क्या कहते हैं इसको? इसको मैट्रिक्स कहते हैं। क्या कहते हैं इसको? इसको मैट्रिक्स कहते हैं। Fine. So, connective tissue, these tissue provides a structural framework. These tissues provides a structural framework and support to different tissues and helps in body function. Body defense. Body defense means we are talking about what? We are talking about, come on, blood. Which part of the blood? WBC. Tissue. Repair. Tissue repair. Fat storage. We are talking about what? When we talk about fat storage. Tell me. Adipose tissues. They help in fat storage. About 30% of the body mass is formed of connective tissue. About 30% of body mass is made up of connective tissue. Fine. I'm asking one particular question again back. 2/3 of the body is made up of. 2/3 of the body is made up of. Option A, fat. Option B, carbohydrate. Option C, proteins. Option D, this one, connective. 2/3 of the body is made up of. 2/3 of the body is made up of proteins. Clear? So very, very important. Now, there are 3 different types we are talking about. One is connective tissue proper, attached to skeletal tissue, and the one is vascular tissue. So we can classify connective tissue into different ways. Over here, they have classified into 3 different types. What is what? The first one is connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue. Come on, skeletal tissue. So you tell me under skeletal tissue, one is bone and cartilage. Bone and cartilage is going to give you what? Structure. Vascular tissue, blood and lymph. Very good. Blood and lymph will come out of this. And when we talk about connective tissue proper, this is the most important area where from you can expect questions. Because if the question has come from skeletal tissue, it will be sir locomotion movement থেকে এসছে. If the question comes from blood, you are going to talk sir circulatory system থেকে এসছে. Lymph circulatory system থেকে এসছে. But only when the question comes from connective tissue proper, you are going to say sir it has come from the tissue topic. Okay, so that is it. So it's a very, very important one. Yes. So connective tissue proper. Connective tissue proper. We can classify connective tissue proper into these 3 types. First, components. Ground substance. On the basis of ground substance, that is matrix. Connective tissue cells consist of components. 3 components. One is connective tissue cells and one is protein fibers. Connective tissue cells have got 5 types. Fibroblast, important, fine. So you can expect questions from these 5. Fibroblast. So what is the meaning of fibro? It has come from fiber. What is the term? Fiber take a term. Now, macrophage, you know, their main function is what? Phage. Phage means ki kaj ide?
Phagocytosis.
The kaj hoche phagocytosis. Mast cells, ektoge bolechhilam, make a star mark on mast cells. Mast cells helps in the formation of many things like serotonin, like histamine, serotonin. Mast cells secrete something which are the derivative of. Which are the derivative of? Come on. Amino acids. Which are the derivative of amino acids? Serotonin, histamine. Clear? Histamine has been produced from histidine, an amino acid. Serotonin has been produced from tyrosine, serotonin. Clear? So it's an amino acid, mast cells, and their main function is vasodilator. Their main function is vasodilator. It increases the diameter of the blood vessel. Pushpita, are you getting me? It increases the diameter of the blood vessel. If the diameter of the blood vessel increases, what is going to happen to the blood pressure? Pressure is কি হবে? Blood pressure বাড়বে না কমবে? কমে যাবে বাবা। যদি blood vessel ফুলে যায় তাহলে ধাক্কাটা blood vessel এর গায়ে ধাক্কাটা কমে যাবে না? তাহলে blood pressureটা কমে যাবে যদি vasodilation হয়। Now lymphocyte cells, their main function is what? Immunity তৈরি করা and produce antibody. What are the 5 different types of antibody present? IgG-GADME. IgG-GADME. So what is IgG-GADME? Shojit, tell me. IgG, A, D, M, and E. So there are 5 different types of antibodies present. 5 different types of antibody present. Clear? It's called IgG-GADME. Okay, produced from lymphocyte cells. Plasma cells. So they are plasma cells. You know, blood is having plasma. So there are 2 components of the blood. One is corpuscles and the one is plasma. Protein fibers, there are 3 different types. One is collagen fiber, elastic fiber, radicular fibers. Now tell me which one is white, which one is yellow? Out of these 3, which one is white? Collagen is white fiber. Collagen is made up of white fiber. Elastic? Yellow fiber. What is the protein present? Elastin. What is the protein present? Elastin. And radicular fibers, they act as packaging material. They act as packaging material. They act as packaging material. So you'll be getting questions from collagen. You'll be getting questions from collagen. White fiber থেকে প্রশ্ন পাবি, elastic থেকে প্রশ্ন পাবি. Clear? Okay. Acha. Okay. Before you get into this content, let me give you some idea about this connective tissue. We can classify connective tissue in another way into two. One is called connective tissue proper. Another one is specialized connective tissue. This is another way of classifying it. When we talk about specialized, there are two types. One is vascular and the one is skeletal. Vascular means they're having blood vessels. They can be blood and lymph. So under it, we have to talk about blood and lymph. The second one under skeletal. Tell me. Under skeletal, one is bone, other one is cartilage. Other one is cartilage. Bone and cartilage. When we talk about connective tissue proper, we can classify them into two. One is loose connective tissue and the one is dense connective tissue. Under loose connective tissue, we can talk about three things. One is reticular cells, areolar tissue, and adipose tissues. Just now we talked about adipose tissue, they store fats. Areolar tissue, we can remember it by SAM. What is SAM? A for areolar, S for skin, M for muscle. So it can connect skin with muscle. Reticular means these are the one which helps as packaging material. They are present in between two organs. So they act as packaging material. Now expect questions from the area which we are talking about right now is about dense connective tissue. When we talk about dense connective tissue, dense means they have got less space. Intercellular space is not that much, but they have got immense functions. First is dense can be having white fiber in the form of collagen, white fibers, or they can have elastin as a protein, and they are yellow fibers. When we talk about collagen or white fiber, they can be regular and they can be also irregular. What is the meaning of regular? Regular means if the collagen fiber are present in a parallel fashion, then they are called regular. And if they are not present in regular fashion, they are irregularly placed, then we are going to call them as irregular. Clear? Now, under example, the example is collagen fibers. The regular one is tendon. And when we talk about tendon, we are talking about BTM. T for tendon, B for bone, and M for muscle. So tendon connects bone to a muscle. What about irregular? That means they are present in irregular fashion. White fiber, irregular fashion. Example, in any other organ, bone এর বাইরে periosteum আছে. Outer lining of the bone is having periosteum. So periosteum is made up of what? Periosteum is made up of irregular collagen. Next is what? Pleura, outer covering of the lungs. Then there is periosteum pleura. Then there is pericardium, outer covering of the heart, perichondrium, outer covering of cartilage, perichondrium comes under all irregular one, collagen fibers. Yes? Gleason's capsule is also. Gleason's capsule will come under this. Fine. Elastic fiber. When we talk about elastic, that means they can be again of two types. Elastic can also be of two types. Come on. One is regular and irregular. Irregular. So under regular, the example is going to be ligament. And ligament, how to remember it? BLB. L for ligament, B for bone, B for bone. So ligament connects bone to a bone. Clear? When we talk about irregular means they are present where? See, as because they have got elastin, they have got elastic. elasticity. So they are present in alveoli. They are present in the inner lining of the blood vessels. Outside blood vessels, you can see what is present. The connective tissue, they are irregular, and that's why they can help the blood vessel to dilate and constrict. Dilate and constrict. So they are irregular. So that means alveoli and the blood vessels. Blood vessels are the best examples of it. Clear? And trachea too. Trachea also comes under this. Trachea. So when you inhale air, the trachea expands a bit, and that is due to what? That is due to the elastin protein. This is one of the way of classifying them. Clear? Into millionaires. Should I go off with the next one? Yes? Very good. Yes. Okay. So now they have talked about mast cells. See, different types of cells are. Fine. One is connective tissue cells. One is fibroblast, which secrete fibers and some matrix. Now, I'm going to show you one question came 2024 from this particular page. From this particular page. So this page is very, very important. Fine. I'm going to help you solve the question. Okay. Fibroblast, which secrete fibers and some matrix. Which secretes fibers and some matrix. Macrophage, also called histiocytes. These are modified monocytes. What are monocytes? They are the largest WBC. Largest WBCs. Phagocytic in nature. Mast cells, they store what? Histamine. They act as vasodilator. They act as a vasodilator. Serotonin, vasoconstrictor. Heparin, anticoagulant. Anticoagulant. These take part in allergic reactions and also help in body defense. They secrete major part of the matrix. Allergy হওয়ার সময় কে তৈরি করে, কে secrete হয়? Histamine. This is your nose. And what happens? What happens is sometimes you have got running nose. Now in running nose, what happens? The blood vessels of the nose gets dilated. So what is the medicine that you take? What is the medicine? নাক দিয়ে চড়চড় করে জল পড়লে কি মেডিসিন নিস? You take the medicine having component cetirizine hydrochloride. Cetirizine hydrochloride. This cetirizine hydrochloride is nothing but it's an antihistaminic. Antihistaminic. That means as because you have got some allergy, the blood vessel has been dilated. ফুলে গেছে blood vessel. তার জন্য কি সিক্রিট হয়েছে? Histamine. কোথা থেকে? Mast cells থেকে. So if any type of allergical reactions, name the cell which takes part. Sir, mast cell. And there's a perfect statement. Mast cell is must for inflammation. Mast cell is must for inflammation. You cannot have inflammation in the body without mast cells. And mind you, aajke dine maximum, when you become doctor, the major problem that you are going to face is about inflammation. So anti-inflammatory medicine bhore toke dite hobe to the patients, and that is the only cause of all those pain and all arthritis. These are nothing but inflammatory diseases. And inflammation hocche keno? Because we are not feeding on the right type of food that we must eat. We are not helping our digestive system to work properly. Why? Because we are basically satisfying close to 30-35 grams of this particular tongue. The whole body depends upon this particular tongue. Clear? Eta amader khetre khub beshi kore hocche. So that is the problem. Because your gut, you are not thinking about your gut, and that is making inflammation in your body. And inflammation is the root cause of all the different types of diseases. Bujlam na? Huh? Turmeric, holud is anti-inflammatory in process, and that's why toদের রান্নার মধ্যে ম্যাক্সিমাম ক্ষেত্রে হলুদ থাকে। ক্লিয়ার? টার্মেরিকটা কখন বুঝেছিলাম আমরা যে খুব এফেক্টিভ? ডিউরিং কোভিড বুঝেছিলাম। হ্যাঁ, ইমিউনিটি পাওয়ার বাড়ায়, অ্যান্টি-ইনফ্লামেটরি, সো দ্যাট ইজ ইট, ভেরি ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। ফাইন। আচ্ছা, কাম নাও টু লিম্ফোসাইট সেলস। লিম্ফোসাইট সেলসকে কি বলা হয়? ম্যাগনেটিক সেলস অ্যান্ড ট্রান্সপোর্ট antibody. Lymphocyte cells কি করে? অ্যান্টিবডি তৈরি করে। There are 5 different types of antibody. We just now talked about that. IgG. What me? IgG. Immunoglobulin G, A, D, M, and E. Plasma cells, they derive from B lymphocytes and produce antibodies against a specific antigen. They have a limited magnetory ability and a short life. Plasma cells have magnetory ability to come, and they have a really short lifespan, short life. And they derive from B lymphocytes. What is the meaning of B lymphocytes? Bursa fabricus in birds, or Bursa equivalent in mammals. Baba বুঝতে পারছি? we are studying connective tissue, which includes all the different types of tissues. The connective tissue is very, very important as far as Neet is concerned. Clear, Baba? Kono অসুবিধা আছে এটুকু? Yes, mast cell. What is the perfect statement? Mast cell is must for inflammation. বল চড় মারলে রাগ হয়, চড় মারলে রাগ হয়, চড় মারলে if you are not prepared, রেজাল্টের দিন চড় খাচ্ছিস, you are prepared যে পাওয়া যেতে পারে, বাট বন্ধু মেরে দিয়েছে and you are not prepared, বন্ধুকে খুব ভালোবাসিস, মেরে দিয়েছে থাপ্পড়, কেমন হবে? অ্যালার্জি তৈরি হবে, বিশাল অ্যালার্জি তৈরি হবে, তুই মারতেও পারবি না, তো রাগও হবে, অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম তুই মারলি, ফাইন। এই মাটা যদি সবার সামনে হয় তাহলে তো রাগে ইমোশন কম, রাগ বেশি, আর যদি একা একা মারে তাহলে রাগ কম, ইমোশন বেশি। ওকে, সো এই দুটোই অ্যালার্জি, দুটোই কি অ্যালার্জি। গাল ফুলে যাবে, ফুলে যাওয়াটা কি বলা হয়? ইনফ্লামেশন। হোয়াট ইজ হ্যাপেন? মাস্ট সেলস দে হ্যাভ স্টার্টেড অ্যাক্টিভেটিং অ্যান্ড দে আর গোইং টু স্টার্ট সিক্রেটিং কাম অন হিস্টামিন। হিস্টামিন কি করে? ব্লাড ভেসেলকে ফুলিয়ে দেবে। কারণ কি, ব্লাড ভেসেল ফুলে গেলে কি হবে? নার্ভের চাপ পড়বে, নার্ভের ব্যথা হবে, তখন তোর ব্যথা সেন্সেশন হবে। সো ইউ গোইং টু টেক এক্সট্রা কেয়ার অফ দিস। হাত ভেঙে গেছে, বলেছিলাম হাত ভেঙে গেছে, বাসে উঠেছিস, ভিড় বাস, জায়গা পাবি না, পাবি না, জায়গা পেয়ে যাবি। যেই একটু ব্যথা লাগবে, লোকে তোর হাত দেখি ভয় পেয়ে গিয়ে সিপ দিয়ে দেবে। সো বাবা, সো ইনফ্লামেশন ইজ গুড আর ব্যাড? এত কিছু ভেবে ইনফ্লামেশন করেছে কিন্তু মাসেলস। সো মাসেল সিক্রিটস হিস্টামিন, অ্যান্ড হিস্টামিনটাকে অ্যান্টি হিস্টামিনিক ড্রাগ দিয়ে কমাতে হবে। অ্যান্ড হোয়াট ইজ দ্যাট? নাক বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে, নাক দিয়ে জল পড়া বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে যদি তুই সেটজিন খেয়ে ফেলিস। ফাইন। এই সেটজিনটার একটা সাইড এফেক্ট আছে, তার মধ্যে অ্যান্টি হিস্টামিনিক আছে, ইটস আ ভেসো কনস্ট্রিক্টর। এই ব্লাড ভেসেল দিয়ে কনস্ট্রিক্ট করে দেবে, তাহলে নাক দিয়ে জল পড়া বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে। কিন্তু এর একটা সাইড এফেক্ট হচ্ছে ঘুম পায়, ঘুম পায়, ভীষণ ঘুম পায়। এটাকে বাঁচানোর জন্য এখন এল-সেট্রিজিন বলে একটা কম্পোনেন্ট তৈরি করেছে, which is going to minimize the side effects. L-সেট্রিজিন, ক্লিয়ার? ভেরি গুড। তোরা নিশ্চয়ই জানিস এই ওয়েদার চেঞ্জের সময় মন্টেলিউকাস দেয় অনেক সময় ডক্টর, তো নাক দিয়ে জল পড়ে, হ্যাঁ, তোর জ্বর আসে, মন্টেলিউকাস দেয় না? মন্টেলিউকাস এলসি দেয়, এলসি, মন্টেলিউকাস এলসি। হোয়াট ইজ এলসি? লিভোসেট্রিজিন। ক্লিয়ার? ওয়াই লিভো? স্যার, লেস অফ সাইড এফেক্টস। একটা কোশ্চেন কর, হ্যাঁ, অনেকগুলো পার্ট পড়লাম না, এই পার্টটা পড়ে নিয়ে কোশ্চেনটা করি, ঠিক আছে? প্রোটিন ফাইবারস, কোলাজেন ফাইবার হতে পারে, ইলাস্টিক ফাইবার হতে পারে, রেডিকুলার ফাইবারস হতে পারে। সো what are these? প্রোটিন ফাইবারস, কোলাজেন ফাইবার হতে পারে, সো they can be collagen fiber, elastic fiber and reticular fibers. ফাইন। প্রোটিন কোলাজেন তৈরি করে, ইয়েলো ফাইবারস কি তৈরি করে? ইলাস্টিন প্রোটিন, দেখ লেখা আছে ইলাস্টিন প্রোটিন তৈরি করে। হ্যাঁ, রেডিকুলার ফাইবারস কি তৈরি করতে পারে? রেডিকুলিন প্রোটিন। হোয়াট ইজ দ্য নেম অফ দ্য প্রোটিন? রেডিকুলিন প্রোটিন। ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। রেডিকুলার প্রোটিন দেখ কি করছে এরা? সাপোর্টিং ফ্রেমওয়ার্ক ফর cellular constituents of various tissues and organs. Example, liver. This tissue has been further divided on the basis of the cells and the fibers present. দেখে নি, cells and the fibers present. আচ্ছা দেখে নি, যেটা আমি ভাগ করেছিলাম সেরকমই রয়েছে। Reticular on the basis of cells and fibers. Areolar, adipose, dense gland tissue, reticular. আচ্ছা, areolar, adipose, dense gland tissue, reticular, mucous, pigmented. আচ্ছা, and dense gland tissue two types, white fibers and yellow fibers. Loose or areolar gland tissue. Abundant ground substance. They make what? Abundant ground substance and relatively sparse fibers. It is found beneath the epithelial of the cell, of the skin, hollow visceral organs and on the walls of arteries and veins. মনে কর, hollow visceral organ. What is the meaning of that? একটা visceral organ তার ভিতরে কিছু ফাঁপা রয়েছে, তাহলে কি করবে? এটা প্যাকেজিং ম্যাটেরিয়াল হিসেবে কাজ করবে। Loose or areolar gland tissues are going to act as a packaging material. আর তার মধ্যে কি থাকবে? On the walls of arteries and veins, all cell types and fibers dispersible. So, প্যাকেজিং মেটেরিয়াল, এই দেখ প্যাকেজিং মেটেরিয়ালের মধ্যে দেখ তো, এখানে দেখতে পাচ্ছিস কি কি সেলস আছে যেটা নিয়ে আলোচনা করেছি। ফাইব্রোব্লাস্ট ইজ দেয়ার, কি রে? প্লাজমা সেল ইজ দেয়ার, কোলাজেন, ম্যাক্রোফাজ, মাস্টের কাজ কি? হিস্টামিন, ফ্যাট সেল, অ্যাডিপোজ টিস্যু, অ্যামারফাস গ্রাউন্ড সাবস্ট্যান্স, মানে কার কথা বলছে এটা? গ্রাউন্ড সাবস্ট্যান্স মানে রেডিকুলার, স্মুথ, ফাইব্রোব্লাস্ট, ইলাস্টিন প্রোটিন, ওখানে কোলাজেন পেলাম। ক্লিয়ার? বুঝলাম না। সো দিস ইজ a small section of the connective tissue being shown. Adipose tissue, ওরা জানিস they help in, they have their adipocyte cells, তা কি করে? শক অ্যাবজর্ব করে। ফ্যাটটা কি ভালো না খারাপ? ভালো। প্রত্যেকটা অর্গানের চারিপাশে ফ্যাট থাকে, আর লিভারের পাশেও ফ্যাট থাকে, ফ্যাটি লিভার বলা হয়। ভালো না খারাপ? খারাপ। প্রত্যেকটা ফ্যাটের প্রত্যেকটা অর্গানের পাশে ফ্যাটের কাজ কি? কুশনিং। কুশনিং, কুশনিং ভালো না খারাপ? ভালো। কুশনিংটা ভালো। বেশি মাত্রায় ভালো না কম মাত্রায় ভালো? কম মাত্রায় ভালো। ভেরি গুড। সো অ্যাডিপোজ টিস্যু ইজ গুড, অ্যাডিপোজ টিস্যু ইজ গুড, ফাইন, বাট ইন moderate amount. Dense connective tissue, white fibrous tissues. তাহলে এই রুমে সব থেকে বেশি ফিট কে? আমি। ক্লিয়ার? বুঝতে? ঠিক আছে, তাহলে অ্যাডিপোজ টিস্যু মানে আমি তাহলে ফিটেস্ট। ওকে, চলো। White fibrous tissues. So white fibrous tissues. White fibrous tissues, they have got what? White fibers, they have got collagen. কি আছে ওদের? Collagen আছে, fine, which are present rows of fibroblast. Yellow elastic fiber means they have got what? They have got elastic. That is, they have got elastin. They are mostly present in ligaments, wall of blood vessels, bronchioles, and lungs. Do calcor. Alveolar tissues. এখানে fat cells আছে, fat globules আছে, connective tissue fibers আছে, connective tissue cells আছে. These are cells, okay? These are adipose tissue. দেখ ভরে ভরে কি আছে? Fat. Fat এর সম্বন্ধে আমরা কি জানি? What is fat? Fat is the largest cell in your body. The largest cell in your body. What is the longest cell? Nerve. Neuron. Neuron, not nerve. Neuron. Okay? Chalo. Tendon or ligament er moddhe difference. Tendon or ligament er difference. Modification of white fibrous tissue, তাই তো? Tendon টা কার? White. আর ligament টা কার? Yellow. Tendon এর মধ্যে fibroblast lie in almost continuous rows. Fibroblast lie scattered. Tendon connects skeletal muscle to bone. কি রে? Bone to muscle. BTM কি রে, তাই তো বললাম। টেন্ডন মানে BTM, টেন্ডন মানে BTM, টেন্ডন কানেক্টস বোন টু মাসল। লিগামেন্ট কানেক্টস BLB, লিগামেন্ট কানেক্টস বোন টু আ বোন, বোন টু আ বোন। ওকে, লিগামেন্টস কানেক্টস বোন টু আ বোন। ইট ইজ আ স্ট্রং বাট ইলাস্টিক, ইট ইজ টাফ বাট ইনইলাস্টিক। কি রে, ইলাস্টিক নেই মানে কি হবে? টাফ হবে আর ইনইলাস্টিক হবে, টাফ হবে আর ইনইলাস্টিক হবে। ওকে, radicular connective tissue. Radicular মানে radicular, দেখ ground tissue is lymph, ground tissue is lymph, branching into fibers of protein, radiculin, কি নাম? Radiculin proteins. All time cells are present but macrophage is predominant. কোথায় মধ্যে বেশি আছে? ম্যাক্রোফেজের মধ্যে বেশি করে রয়েছে ওরা। ক্লিয়ার? they are present where? In spleen, Peyer's patches, bone marrow. আচ্ছা, Peyer's patches কোথায় ছিল? And what is the function of Peyer's patches? They are the secondary lymphoid organ. Page number. Immunity chapter 157 দেখ Peyer's patches। হ্যাঁ, যা পেয়েছিস, যা তারপরে পেজ, তারপরে পেজ, তারপরে পেজ, তারপরে পেজ, পেয়েছিস Peyer's patches। পেজ কত? 154 Peyer's patches. They are the secondary lymphoid organ, secondary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organ, secondary lymphoid organ. phone laga, secondary lymphoid organ. Secondary lymphoid organ লাগা, একটু বাড়ি গিয়ে কথা বলা যে ম্যাডাম সব ক্লাস নিচ্ছে, কিছু বলা থাকলে আমি বলে দিই, বলেছি স্যারকে। ওকে, সেকেন্ডারি লিম্ফোয়েড অর্গান। রেডিকুলার টিস্যু হলো এটা। lymph nodes, liver, lymph nodes and liver, lymph nodes and liver. Mucous connective tissue, a gelatinous substance called Wharton's jelly is present in which few fibroblasts and collagen fibers are present. It is found in umbilical cord and vitreous humor. Found in umbilical cord and vitreous humor. Umbilical cord and vitreous humor পাওয়া যায়।
স্যার বলছিলাম কিছু বলার ছিল ক্লাস শেষে নিয়ে বলবো।
ক্লাস নেই তো? ওকে। Mucous connective tissue, a gelatinous substance called Wharton's jelly is present in which a few fibroblasts and collagen fibers are present. It is found in umbilical cord and vitreous humor. কোন অসুবিধা আছে এটা? Mucous। আচ্ছা, umbilical cord জানিস তো কোনটা? কি রে? হ্যাঁ, umbilical cord, this umbilical cord from your mother's body, This placenta, this is umbilical cord. Umbilical cord contains key. Umbilical cord contains what? If this is the blood vessel, this blood vessels contains কটা artery, কটা vein? দুটো vein and একটা artery. Two vein and one artery. Umbilical cord contains two vein and one artery. It's very, very important. One artery. That means through veins, the deoxygenated blood from the fetus goes off to the mother's body. Clear? And from mother body, only one artery is present towards the fetus. Okay, pigmented connective tissue. কি বলছে? It gives color to the structures. They are found in the choroid ciliary body. কোথায় থাকে? Choroid ciliary body. You know what? Pigmented iris of the eye and dermis of the human skin. They have what? Pigmented. What is the pigment present inside skin? Melanin. And what is the pigment present inside your retina? Iodopsin and rhodopsin. See, this is the structure of the reticular connective tissue. Chalo. Okay. Now, let us start with some of the questions, and then we are going to come down to cartilage. Start with some of the questions. Bone and cartilage. Okay, if this figure is there in your book, it is there in your old book. The same figure is there in your old book. New book nahi hoy to. It's not there in the new book, I think. Yes. Ache? Now see, this is macrophage. What is the function of macrophage? Phagocytosis. Now see, these are fibroblasts. These blue color over the collagen fiber. These are fibroblast cells. These are mast cells which secrete histamine. Now the question comes from the labeling. Fine. देखने ये चीज ना? अच्छा. चलो. Do this question. List 1 and list 2. Come on, Sojit. 30 seconds being given. Option D. Let me find out option D. What is it? Squamous epithelium present in the wall of blood vessel. A3. Ciliated epithelium present inside inner lining of the blood vessel. So B4. A3B4. Okay. And then glandular epithelium in the goblet cells. They secrete what? Mucus cells. Goblet cells secretes mucus cells. That is C1. And compound epithelium D2. That is inner lining of blood vessels. Clear? So answer is D. 2024 question. Clear? Come on. Okay, just wait. Gap junctions, na? Gap junctions questions. Let me give you this detail. Yes. How many type of junctions are there? When we talk about junctions, how many types of junctions are there? Tight junction, adhering junction, gap junction. Fine. Tight junctions stop substances from leaking. Tight means tightly fit. So they are going to stop the leakage. Adhering junctions, they are cementing neighboring cells. And gap junctions, they facilitate the transfer. Gap junctions, they are going to help in the transfer. তাহলে অ্যাডারিং জাংশন কি করবে? সিমেন্টিং নেবারিং সেল, দুটো সেলকে সিমেন্ট করে রাখবে, অ্যাটাচ করে রাখবে। ক্লিয়ার? তাহলে যদি তাই হয়, চল এই কোশ্চেনটা কর। বুঝলাম বাবা? কোশ্চেনটা কর। 2024 এর কোশ্চেন अगेन। চল। Come on, do it. Thirty seconds being given to you. 30 seconds being given to you. Put like it. Chalo, read out. Yes. Tell me the answer. Yes. क्या है? B. Option B is the answer. Tight junction helps to stop. Oh God, it is straight question है. हाँ? Tight junction helps to stop surfaces from leaking across the tissue. ভালো লাগে না যখন ব্যাপারটা জানা থাকে তখন খুব মনে হয় কোনো ব্যাপার নাকি, আমি ওটাই বলতে চাইছি, কোনো ব্যাপারই না আসলে। Only the thing that you have to know the things. Fine. Then next question কর। Yes. এইটুকু তো পারা উচিত 2024 এর কোশ্চেন। না করো। In which of the following current tissue the cell secretes fibers of collagen or elastin? Fibers of collagen or elastin. এই কোশ্চেন, এরকম কোশ্চেন এই বছর ভরে ছিল, and that took time. খেয়াল কর, A and B only, A, B and C. বাস, এটা কিন্তু ইজি কোশ্চেন। তো একটু খেয়াল কর একটা জিনিস, সি লাগছে, সি মানে বি, সি এন্ড ডি অনলি। বি বোন, adipose and blood. Except blood, all are right. Blood cannot make collagen and elastin. বি তো, হ্যাঁ ডি নেই, হ্যাঁ এটাই। ব্লাড ক্যানট মেক কোলাজেন এন্ড ইলাস্টিন। খেয়াল কর, তুই এখন যদি ব্লাডে পেয়েছিস এগুলো, কোলাজেন ইলাস্টিন ব্লাডে করবে কি? আরবিসি কে ধাক্কা দেবে, কোলাজেন এই যা, তুই কেন যাচ্ছিস না, হার্ট বলবে আমি কি করতে বসে আছি। The only thing is এটা ওই তো ব্লাড, তাই না? So that is it. বুঝলাম? চল দেখি এটা কর, দাঁড়া। Come on. Option C, A3, unicellular glandular epithelium goblet cells. Acha. Next, compound epithelium. B4, moist surface of buccal cavity. Moist surface of buccal cavity, compound epithelium. ঠিক আছে? Multicellular glandular. C1, salivary, multicellular glandular. Endocrine glandular. D3. একটা জিনিসই বোঝা যাচ্ছে আনসারটা কোথায়। This one. Conformation হচ্ছে endocrine glandular pancreas. Fine. So D3. Then C multicellular glandular. Moist surface. Why? Because multicellular, because buccal cavity বারবার করে কি হবে? buccal cavity তে কাটবে ছিটবে, wear and tear বেশি। And then compound epithelium, B is 1, salivary gland. Compound epithelium, salivary gland. Compound epithelium, salivary gland. B1, A3, B4 না? Option C হবে, B4, এটা হবে না compound. Fine. So this is going to be B4. Compound epithelium is going to be moist. And C1, multicellular glandular C1. And D is D is 3 and A is 2. A is 3, goblet, unicellular glandular goblet cells. And D2, pancreas. So option is C. বাহ, দেখ কোশ্চেনটা 23th কোশ্চেন, 23th কোশ্চেন। চলো, ওকে, সি সি অ্যান্ড ডি নেই, আগে বলে বি অ্যান্ড বি আর এ হবে কিনা আনসার। ফার্স্ট ফাইন্ড আউট দ্য আনসার ফার্স্ট। Muscles, 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 alveolar connective tissue হয়ে গেল। Inner surface of bronchioles, what is it? Ciliate epithelium, blood, connective tissue, tubular, অপশন এখানে নেই, না নেই, এই দুটো হবে না, সো অপশন সি আর ডি এর মধ্যে যে কোনো একটা হবে। ক্লিয়ার? কর এটা। Come on, do it.
Sir, option B.
Option?
B.
Option B. Any other answer? Acha, squamous epithelium, endothelium. C1, right? এটা কি? C4 কোথায়? কি বল বি বললি? C4, আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে। cuboidal epithelium, ducts of gland, D1, D1, হ্যাঁ D1, আর ciliate epithelium, inner lining of B3 আর columnar, কি রে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে? চলো আর কোশ্চেন্স করবো, নে লাস্ট কোশ্চেনটা করে নে, এটা 2011 এর কোশ্চেন। বলিস না তুষার, বলিস না, আই ওয়ান্ট আনসার ফ্রম আদার্স। Yes, the ciliated columnar epithelial cells in humans are known to occur in ciliated columnar. That means they are going to help in something. Help in what? Movement. কোথায় আছে? B, bronchioles and fallopian tube. It's not fallopian tube and urethra. It is just catch. It's not going to be urethra. It's going to be bronchioles and fallopian tube. তাই তো? চলো, এই কোশ্চেনটা ছিল 2012 এর, আর এটা ছিল পুরো, it came from the diagram. Which one is A, B, C, D? Come on, A, B, C, D. একটু আগে বললাম, বল বল বল, A, B, C, D কোনটা হবে? A macrophage, B fibroblast, C collagen, D muscle. Very good. ঠিকঠাক? চলো, কিরে ভালো লাগলো? You know what? সারা দিন পড়াশোনা কর, কিন্তু তাতেও তোর ভালো লাগবে না till the time you solve questions, because you are going to learn only when you solve questions. Otherwise কিছুতে ব্রেন জাগলিং হবে না। ওকে, আচ্ছা, আমরা this is a very big why? Because অনেক কিছু ইনফরমেশন আছে, we have to study about bone, blood, cartilage. Fine, so চল ছোট্ট করে কার্টিলেজটা দেখিয়ে নিই, তারপরে কার্টিলেজটা আমরা হয়ে থেকে পড়বো। আচ্ছা, ইলাস্টিক কার্টিলেজ, এই কার্টিলেজটা যাওয়ার আগে আমি তোকে আগে দেখিয়ে নিই কার্টিলেজ সম্বন্ধে একটু। লেট মি গিভ ইউ সাম অফ দ্য আইডিয়া অ্যাবাউট কার্টিলেজ। বোন আর কার্টিলেজের মধ্যে মেজর ডিফারেন্সটা কি? ইফ ইউ সি আ সেকশন অফ দ্য বোন, আমরা যদি একটা বোনের সেকশন দেখি, if you see the section of the bone, fine, বোনের মধ্যে দুটো সেকশন আছে, একটা there is a spongy tissue inside and there is a compact bone outside. This is the compact bone, this is the compact bone. This is a compact bone. And this is a spongy tissue inside. Spongy tissue inside. Now, spongy tissue contains blood vessels. This is spongy tissue which contains কি contain করে? Blood vessels contain করে. They contain blood vessels. Clear? Now, and the compact bone is made up of what? Ca3PO4 whole twice. Right? 80% of the bone is made up of calcium phosphate. 80% of the bone is made up of calcium phosphate, which is compact bone. Ever, if you compare it with the cartilage, when you feed on the chicken, there is a kochkochi present inside chicken. Kochkochi, come on. If you cut a section, triangular kochkochi in the chicken, there is the cartilage. Okay. Now, if you cut a section of it, what are you going to find? There is a homogeneous mixture. There is only one kind of component. There is no spongy tissue present. So there is no blood vessels present inside the cartilage. And that is the reason why if cartilage once erodes off, it is never going to get regenerated. It is never going to get replaced by new cells. একজনে অস্টিওআর্থ্রাইটিসে কি হয়? আলটিমেটলি লাস্টে গিয়ে কি হয়? কার্টিলেজ নষ্ট হয়ে গেছে, তখন কি করা হয়? আজকের দিনে মেটাল লাগানো হয়, এখন মেটাল লাগানো হচ্ছে, তাই না? সো ইটস আ গ্রেট প্রবলেম। কারণ একবার কার্টিলেজ নষ্ট হয়ে গেলে কার্টিলেজ হিল হয় না। সো দিস ইজ আ মেজর ডিফারেন্স। Outside covering of the bone is periosteum. Outside covering of the bone is called perichondrium, because the study of cartilage is called chondrology. এর মধ্যে অনেক রকমের ডিফারেন্স আছে, বাট একটা ইউনিক সিমিলারিটি বল। Tell me one unique similarity between bone and cartilage. Both of them are skeletal tissues. Both of them are skeletal tissues. They can provide structure or framework of the body. আচ্ছা, এবার হয়েছে না? এবার চল আমরা কার্টিলেজের টাইপ দেখি। কার্টিলেজের টাইপ। So when we talk about the type of the cartilage, কার্টিলেজকে আমরা ক্লাসিফাই করতে, we can classify cartilage on the basis of two things. On the basis of two things. One is fibers and the one is salts. When we talk about salts, we are talking about mainly calcium salts. Calcium salts. And when we talk about fibers, we are talking about two main things. One is about white fiber and the one is about yellow fibers. White fibers are made up of always collagen. Come on, collagen, and yellow fibers are made up of elastin. What is the nature of elastin? They are elastic in nature. What about collagen? They are white in nature and they are having less of elasticity but huge amount of what? Tensile strength. Their strength খুব বেশি, elastic কম, but yellow fibers elastic বেশি, strength কম. Now, on the basis of this we can classify cartilage into four types. The first one is called hyaline cartilage. The second one is elastic cartilage. The third one is fibrous cartilage. And the last one is calcified cartilage. Clear? When we talk about hyaline cartilage, that means we are talking about that what kind of fibers they have got. Fibers ক রকমের আছে? They have got only white fiber. And what about salts? They have no salts. So salts absent. So only white fiber means they have got high tensile strength but less of elasticity. Elastic নেই তো, তাহলে elasticity কমে যাবে বা থাকবে কম। Clear? So example কি? They are present at the end of long bones. You have seen this is the long bone. এই বোনের ঠিক পেছনে, ঠিক পরে, you have seen a hyaline cartilage. You have seen a cartilage which is hyaline cartilage. Clear? Elastic cartilage মানে কি আছে? What kind of fibers are present? Tell me now. The name itself suggests elastic মানে they have got elastin. So only yellow fibers. What about salts? They have no salts. Example, they are present in our ear and nose. They're present in our ear and nose. অনেকবার কান টেনেছে? ও টিচার কেন, বাবাও তো না, মা। আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, ear and nose. Clear? So that is fibrous. So ওরা কেন জানতো? কারণ কি ওরা জানতো যে ওটা ইলাস্টিক কার্টিলেজ আছে। Okay. Fibrous cartilage means what? Fibrous cartilage means what kind of fibers? All the fibers in the world. So they have got both yellow and white fibers. Yellow and white. That means they have got collagen as well as elastin. And what about salts? They have no salts. They have no salts. Salts absent. তাহলে এটা কোথায় পাওয়া যাবে? They are present inside intervertebral disc. দুটো intervertebral column মাঝখানে. It is present between two vertebral column. And that gives what? Stretchability as well as it gives the strength. Fine? It gives the strength. So fibrous cartilage present where? In the intervertebral column. Intervertebral column. Come down to calcified. When we talk about calcified, that means no fibers. Fibers are absent completely. Fibers are absent. Negative. What about salts? All the calcium salts are present. Calcium salts are present. So they're calcified. They're present at the tip of the long bones. They are present at the tip of the long bones. Fine. Think about the tip of the long bones. Say this is also a long bone. Tibia fibula. Tibia fibula. Think about tibia. So it is having a tough covering where the whole body is resting upon this particular part of the tibia. And tibia, the tip of the long bone, they have got calcified cartilage. Sometimes যখন কামড় দিয়ে আমরা এরকম হাড়ে পুরো এরকম একটা স্ট্রাকচার বেরিয়ে আসে না শক্ত কিভাবে এটা হার্ড এটা হার্ড নয় দিস ইজ কার্টিলেজ which is hard 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 due to calcification due to calcium deposition ওখানে কি থাকে ফাইব্রাস থাকে কোনো elasticity থাকে no so that is calcified cartilage so we have started our journey from that hyaline cartilage end of the long bones we have ended with tip of the long bones মাঝখানে কান টানা হয়েছে আর মাঝখানে ইন্টারভার্টিব্রাল ডিস্ক হয়েছে বা বুঝলাম না হ্যাঁ সো দিস ইজ অ্যাবাউট কার্টিলেজ একটা কম আছে একদম নেই কম আছে একদম নেই অনেক আছে একদম নেই অনেক আছে this is how you should be remembering it and you have your own ways to remembering it if you want to remember it কার্টিলেজ থেকে ভালো প্রশ্ন আছে আজ এই কার্টিলেজটা করে কমেন্ট করব আমরা এগিয়ে গেলাম yes this is cartilage hyaline cartilage দেখে নে বাবা the matrix is fiberless and glass like it is initial skeleton of the fetus that fetus এর maximumটা কি আছে hyaline cartilage আছে calcification হয়নি it is in adult it is found in bronchi larynx nasal septum remember the trachea is lined by C7 hyaline cartilage good nasal septum at the end of ribs tracheal rings and the articular surface of the long bones calcified cartilage this cartilage is formed by the calcification of hyaline cartilage example salts of calcium are deposited in the matrix example suprascapula of pectoral girdle kire pectoral girdle scapula triangular bone pubis of pelvic girdle and in frog elastic cartilage কি বলছে many elastic fibers are present in the matrix it forms pinna of ear of nose tip of nose eustachian tube কোথায় আছে eustachian tube ভেতরের দিকে come on eustachian tube and epiglottis fibrous cartilage has cartilage intermediate between those of hyaline cartilage and dense cartilage tissue its presence indicates the need for resistance to compression and shear forces thick dense bundles of collagen fibers are present between rows of chondrocytes present between joints between vertebrae intervertebral column and at pubic symphysis টা কি ধরনের pubic symphysis টা কেমন ধরনের জয়েন্ট slightly mobile joint where it helps in parturition কি রে parturition refers to the act of process of giving birth to a child বুঝলাম আজকে এটুকু থাকবে আমরা নেক্সট দিন বোন স্টার্ট করবো ওকে বোনটা পড়তে গেলে একটু বড় ছোট আছে and if you have got no problem থাক আজকে 12 বাজে that is it নেক্সট দিন আমরা বোনেরও কোশ্চেন্স করব কার্টিলেজ থেকে কোশ্চেন্স করব আমি কোশ্চেন্সটা এইটুকু ভাবে তুলে নিয়েছিলাম যাতে কিনা টিস্যু অবধি কভার হয়ে যায় মানে এপিথেলিয়াল টিস্যুস অবধি কভার হয়ে যায় ঠিক আছে নেক্সট ডে আমরা বোন স্টার্ট করব লিম্ফ পড়ব ব্লাড পড়ব blood bone lymph so you're going to have questions from blood bone and lymph and cartilage ঠিক আছে চল that's it for চল
So next